Well, hey everybody, it's the 10th day of April 2025, Thursday, Thor's Day. I'm Jan Erickson and this is As Above, So Below. Let's go ahead and get started with today's reading. I'm going to take a rune from the Elder Futhark bag for the above side or higher self side of things to get us started. Well, we have Gebo again. We had Gebo on Monday. Gebo is the seventh rune of the Elder Futhark. It's the gift, or the gift of reciprocity, of balanced energy exchange. It can indicate marriage or a link between people, partnership. But basically, when I pull Kenaz, or rather Gebo, it's the gift of reciprocity for me. That's typically how I start out a interpretation of it, and how I conceive of it. It's really Kenaz in all directions, and so it's expressing yourself from a higher state of balanced energy exchange or reciprocity, understanding that connection, that soul connection that we have with everybody. And here we've got Albus, looks like, which is what we had on Monday. This is interesting. Now, I've never done this before. Where I've had the same exact runes both days. I might have one, but not both. So here we have again Gebo and Albus that are suggesting a higher state of consciousness here in our interactions with other people, and how we engage and interact and integrate with other people in a balanced way that lets go of ego and invokes spirit in all of it. So in that type of energy. So now on Monday we had the moon, the king of wands, and the lovers reversed. I can't believe I'll get that, but at the rate we're going, I don't know. But again, right now, it's important that, with the ego likes you to react in fear. And there's a lot of things to be worried about right now in our world. And so I think it just may be counseling, trying to stay above it as much as possible. And I know that's going to be really tough as so many things are being taken away. And services that people have count on basically are being removed, and funding taken away from things. And so, there's just this general feeling of uncomfortableness that's happening at minimum, right? So to draw both of those runes twice in a row, Albus, being the sage and higher wisdom and consciousness. So I dropped a card. There it is. Fortunately, I didn't drop it on the floor. It's the King of Cups, so keep that in mind, maybe. The thing is when you drop a card, you're supposed to... It's kind of like it's your card. One time I dropped 4. It's like, well, okay. What message am I to get from that besides I'm just being klutzy? Anyway, I've done a little shuffling already. So let's take 3 cards here. Well, we have the Fool and the Emperor, and we also have the 8 of Pentacles. And so material security is an issue here, at least with the small card, with the Minor Arcana card. But with the generally speaking, well, let me just do the numerology here first, and then we'll decide. I think I'm going to go ahead and bookend the 8 of Pentacles with the Fool and the Emperor. Where's my little calculator app? There we go. So we have 7 for Gebo, we have 4 for the Emperor, we have 8 for the 8 of Pentacles, and 0 for the Fool. So we have 19. I'll do that again just to be sure. Plus 4 is 11. Plus 8 is 19. 9 and 1 is 10. 1 and 0 is 1. So we have one numerology for the whole reading. So new beginnings, talent, leadership, things like that. But the self, but generally speaking, one is new beginnings. So if we're to be a little more mindful of invoking spirit into our awareness, so and our reactions and our perceptions today, and in a balanced way, in a way that reflects higher wisdom and reciprocity with other people. Let's start with the 8 here, and then we'll talk about the 2 major arcana cards that surround it. And we had 2 major arcana cards, of course, with the moon and the lovers on Monday. And so again, you're seeing that same higher self-influence, because the major arcana cards are thought to be soul archetype cards, and so they have a higher vibration than the minor arcana cards do. And so aligning with both Gebo and Albus together, you've got quite a bit of soul energy here, or higher awareness energy here. But if we talk about the 8 of Pentacles, here you have a guy who's out away from everything. There is the dual line you can barely see right there. I don't know if you can see that right there. Some of the cards in the Rider-Waite have that indicate like we're doing something here and we're doing something here. And so here he's getting out away from his normal surroundings, from the town or his home or what have you. And he's building his wealth. He's working his trade. He's working diligently, being very practical in what he's doing. 8 is about strength. It's about material recognition and approval. And he's certainly looking to get that, being out away here, so that maybe people who pass by will see him. But at minimum, he's building his wealth. You can see the sense of building as it goes upwards, building his skill set, if you will. And he's doing it in a very practical and diligent and focused way. And even though some of that may be threatened in our lives right now, we want to be careful when we take our leap of faith with the Fool here into form. You see and I look at the Fool as the soul when it's taking its leap into physical reality. You see the sun above him here, its rays shining down. You see the yellow sky there. You see his dog at his side. You see this little, it's a satchel really, but you can think of it as a knapsack, bringing with him everything that he's, all the lessons he's learned, and all the awareness he's acquired. It's acquired, because we don't know yet whether it's a boy or a girl, if it's male or female, until he takes that, I just call him a he, until he takes that leap into form and makes that decision of who's he going to be. Is he going to come into this form as a male or a female? And so the soul is doing that, right? And it's bringing with it all the things it's learned from other incarnations. You've got the white rose of purity here. And you've got the mountains here that indicate there's going to be challenges, of course, because without challenges, otherwise you get very complacent. And so you've got to have that friction within to manifest, if you will. If it's a very Nothese, which is one of the Norn runes, a Nothese type of experience, where it's the friction within to manifest. And so you need the challenges to do that. But at the same time, he's not looking where he's going. His face or the soul's face, or the soul's energy or focus is focused onto heaven, right? And so basically what the soul will do at that point is take that leap into form. You see the wheels all depicted here, and in order to learn what it's decided it needs to learn this go around, or in this particular timeline. From there, when he gets past the magician, where he makes the body through, we'll say it's going to be a man, because this is a man, and he makes his body through the magician, and then connects the soul and the subconscious level to that through the high priestess, and then with the Empress gives birth to creation, basically. And then comes the emperor. Okay, here we have a 4, which is half of the number 8. And so it's the foundation and structure of all of this material security and wealth and the work that they're going to be doing, that this individual is going to be doing. The emperor is really about pragmatism and structure and masculine energy. He's also about order and stability. And ambition and discipline and reason. He's thought to be the father aspect, whereas the Empress is the mother aspect of self. But here you see the ram's heads on the 4 corners of the stone throne. You see the mountains in the background. And so he's holding his scepter in one hand and the orb in, which is typical of royalty. They do that in England. They have the scepter and the orb, and one is in one hand and one is in the other, and it's the divine right of kings, if you will, part of that whole experience, essentially. But in this case, what he's counseling is when you're taking that leap and trusting the process, into something else. Whether it's, coming into physical reality like the soul's doing, or whether it's just in your daily life when you have a new opportunity that comes. And he's suggesting that you need to be very practical in what you do right now. The unexpected things that happen in life, particularly if you have a 401k or other type of stock market investments, it's very volatile. It's, the Dow Jones is way down right now. At least it was when I looked this morning, it was over 1,100 points down. And so whatever, nonsense that happened yesterday that I suspect they're going to investigate, it's going to come back down. And people's stock portfolios you're going to lose money. And whatever gains happened yesterday, you probably didn't make all your money back from the crash before, right? And so I'm afraid to look at what we don't have very much in the stock market, but I know I looked at not March, I think I looked at February, and it was coming down even then. And so I'm afraid to look at when we see this one come out, for March, but and then April's, who knows if there'll be anything left. It's that type of a scenario that's going on. And so it makes people want to act impulsively and act from the place of fear. And I think with having both Gebo and Albus, both Monday and today, this is a week where you don't want to do that. You want to be patient. You want to watch. You want to see what happens. But at the same time, and if your advisor is telling you to do something now because this is going to protect you, then you might want to listen to that. But you want to do things in a very practical and measured way. You want to be very disciplined and do everything that's based on reason, as far as what the emperor is suggesting here. Now we had the emperor last Thursday, and of course I don't think much really of the emperor, but in terms of taking a leap of faith, you want to do it in a practical way. And so if you're listening to your financial advisor right now, and you're dealing with what you have, because this is also representing what he has, what he's built, what's security he's built, that may be something that you want to do. You want to talk to somebody that knows what you want and knows what you need and knows what you have and can make the best recommendations for you, so that you approach whatever is going on instead of a place of fear, but in a place of as much knowledge and truth as you possibly can, and make the best decision for yourself at this time. So maybe there's better companies they can, or better what, I don't know even know what they call them, instruments that you can put your money in, maybe that is going to be safer. So there may be something like that you can do that would be pragmatic or practical or disciplined or reasoned. And so again, coming from that place of higher wisdom and expressing that in a balanced way, you tend to, even though it might be a scary moment for you, and I'm sure that it is, I'm sure it is for us too. Um, I just don't know quite how scary yet. And so um, there just comes a point, though, where you can't let fear influence everything, that all the decisions that you make, at least not in a way that's reasonable. So again, getting advice from your financial advisor that you've been working with is probably, the way to go. The emperor could represent that as well, making that practical, reasoned choice here. And I just find it interesting. I drew the Eight of Pentacles. I mean, of all cards to draw here today, this is just going to be a tumultuous time. And things are not, as they should be. They passed a bill in the House this morning, the SAVE Act, where part of it has to do with having women who register to vote, if your maiden name is not what you're using and you're married. And most of us, I forget what number, 80 some percent or something, of women change their name to their spouse's last name. I did, but I've been married. Let's see, we'll be married 46 years next month. So, Social Security, I changed my Social Security card to reflect my new married name and all of that. So, now I have to renew a passport so that I have something like that. Although here in Oregon, we have vote by mail, and we should all be fine here, hopefully, but we don't know. We don't know what, if this passes the Senate and gets signed into law, a lot of women could be disenfranchised from voting. And that's just unacceptable. And hopefully, the Supreme Court will weigh in and say, yeah, no, you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. You can't disenfranchise women simply because they took their husband's name. And I read today that it even involves where you hyphenate your name. It's like, well, okay, that's interesting. So they're trying to stack the deck, basically, to stop people from voting. Right? So there we go. Lots of unsureness, lots of insecurity right now. But mostly, I think even though that's a big one, and these other things that are in that bill are really, really harmful to the country, all to give billionaires a tax break. We're really talking about our material security. And I think that, with the Eight of Pentacles, it's like no matter what you've done, you've got external forces that should know better than to harm you. They're doing it willy-nilly, basically. And all that you've created is now in jeopardy. And so you have to be very careful, though, how you respond to it, so that you're not, coming from a place of fear and horror over what's going on. Although you feel it, you have to make a more practical decision for yourself that isn't based on that. Because fear can make you act impulsively and do things that maybe aren't in your best interest right now. And in point of fact, we may all be in uncharted territory, because when have we ever had somebody in the Oval Office do something like this to the country? We not in my lifetime, and so whatever happened before, there was probably some things that went on that could qualify as this, but nothing like this, that caused the Great Depression and all of that, and the stock market crash and all of that. There were things that happened prior to that, where tariffs were used and really messed things up. And so we should know better, but the guy in the Oval Office doesn't know better. So this serves him. So, and all his friends, that's what he said yesterday, in the Oval Office, with one of them standing there. So we'll see what ends up happening. It'll probably have to be the state AGs that come out and deal with this, but particularly New York's one. But we'll see what happens if they get away with it, or if people start to be getting arrested and charged for this, for what happened, because it looks like it's a really, really illegal thing that happened yesterday. So, but we'll see what ends up happening there, what a judge ends up saying when it finally gets there, right? But in the meantime, what you've worked for is being threatened, and and you take a leap of faith, you better be on the right side of who you're having faith in. Because if you're having faith in the guy who's doing all this, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to turn out for you, or for any of the rest of us, right? So instead, I think manifesting the emperor and the practicality and reason and discipline that the emperor has, with a focus on stability, versus all of this turmoil that's happening, and this loss of money and retirement income that people have put their heart and soul into creating for themselves for when they retire, or retirees right now that are watching their portfolio sink into the mud. Again, just be careful how you respond, and try to do the most practical thing you can for yourself at this time. So whatever that is, I'm not a finance person. I have a little bit of stuff, and that's it. And I don't really know a whole lot about it, but I just think the cards are saying be very careful right now, and get as much advice as you can before you make a decision that could even make things worse, for yourself. You don't want to do that. But that may all be out of our hands now. So, whether it's in the stock market, or what we pay up for things at the grocery store, with the tariffs on China and well, on everyone actually. And so, and on Mexico and on Canada, all of that's going to hit us in the pocketbook. Even though he says that those other countries pay it. It's not true. It's just not true. We do. The importer does. And it trickles down from there, to us, the consumer. So this is going to be, we live in scary times right now. And again, do what you do in a way that makes sense, that is measured, and that you don't give in to the fear of it while you're making the decisions you need to make. So anyhow, that's it. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about any of it. It's just, you sit and you watch it and you're like, oh, wow, look at that. Anyway, I guess it's going to be a come to reality moment for a lot of people who voted for this guy. We'll see if they do. So anyway, again, thanks for watching. Check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. The address there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video and a box will open, and it's right there at the top. And have a good weekend. I'm going to be doing some more garden planning. My husband has surgery next week, a repeat of the one he had in October on one side. So it failed. So he has to go back in, and so he'll, instead of a 2 or 3 week rehab or recovery, this will be like a month, because they're going to do it differently, and to make sure it doesn't fall apart again. So anyway, we're scrambling around trying to get things ready for that, and so I may do these the videos for next week. I may do them on the weekend and then schedule them so that I'm fully available for the things that we need to do, and available to him, and when he has a surgery, and then bringing him home, and this is just a day surgery, so he doesn't have to spend the night, but here we go again. So hopefully this is the last one and he'll be fine after that, but next week's kind of a focus on him. So anyhow, but I will get these done and get them scheduled, so they will come out on Monday and Thursday. So anyhow, but thanks for watching, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.